7 annoying things Americans do when they visit the UK. Hey there, world explorers! Welcome back to your favourite travel channel, where we dive into the little things that make every culture unique, and sometimes a little awkward for visitors. Now, if you've ever travelled to the UK, or are planning to, there's something you should know. British people are polite, but they definitely notice when tourists don't quite fit in. And guess what? Americans tend to stick out like a sore thumb. Today, we're talking about 7 annoying things Americans do when they visit the UK. And hey, if you're American, don't take this the wrong way. It's all in good fun. Think of this as your survival guide for blending in across the pond. Because let's be honest, nobody wants to be the tourist who makes the locals roll their eyes. Alright, let's jump into it. 7. You are being loud. Let's start with the most obvious one. Volume control. If you've ever walked into a UK cafe, pub or train station and immediately knew where the Americans were, you're not alone. Americans are famous for their energy, enthusiasm and expressive way of speaking. Now don't get me wrong, being lively is great. But in Britain, people tend to keep their voices lower in public places. If you're chatting away at full volume about your favourite NFL team or your latest business deal, you might find a few raised eyebrows and quiet side eyes coming your way. It's not that British people don't talk, they do. But conversations tend to be more subdued, especially in places like the London Underground, where silence is practically an unwritten rule. In fact, the British are known for their love of queuing and polite conversation. But even in these situations, voices are generally kept at a reasonable level. So, if you're standing in line at a coffee shop or chatting with a friend on the bus, try to keep your voice down to avoid drawing attention to yourself. Want to blend in? Try dialing it down a notch and embracing the British art of understatement. Instead of boisterously laughing or loudly debating, try to keep your emotions in check and your voice at a reasonable level. Remember, in Britain, subtlety is key. Here are a few tips to help you master the art of quiet conversation. Speak at a slightly lower volume than you normally would. Avoid loud laughter or boisterous outbursts. Use body language to convey enthusiasm instead of raising your voice. Take cues from those around you and adjust your volume accordingly. By following these tips, you'll be well on your way to blending in with the locals and avoiding any awkward moments due to loud conversation. 6. You are bragging. Let's be honest, Americans are proud people, and that's totally fine. The problem? The British have a different relationship with self-promotion. In the US, it's normal to share your achievements. Got a promotion? Bought a house? Landed a big contract? Americans love celebrating wins. But in the UK, overt bragging can come off as a bit, well, arrogant. British culture values modesty and self-deprecating humour over personal hype. So, instead of saying, "Yeah, I crushed my sales targets this quarter, biggest numbers in the company," try something like, "Oh, I somehow managed to sell a few things, pure luck really." Add a little sarcasm and you'll fit right in. Fun fact, British people actually love complaining about their own success. So if you get a promotion, don't say, "I'm the best at what I do." Instead say, "Ugh, now I have way more responsibility. Terrible, really." See the difference? In fact, the British often use humour to deflect praise or attention. This is known as self-deprecation or modesty. It's a way of showing humility and avoiding arrogance. So if someone compliments you on your achievement, try responding with a joke or a humble remark. Here are a few examples. "Thanks, but I'm sure it was just a fluke." "Oh, it was nothing, really, just a bit of luck." "I'm not sure what I did, but I'm glad it worked out." By adopting this humble approach, you'll be more likely to win over your British friends and colleagues. Remember, in the UK, it's not about seeking praise or recognition, but about being part of a team and achieving shared goals. 5. Buying drinks. One by one and not in rounds. Imagine you're at a cosy British pub with some new British friends. You go up to the bar, order a drink just for yourself, and come back to the table. Suddenly, the atmosphere shifts. You've just broken an unspoken rule. In the UK, buying rounds is the norm. One person buys drinks for the whole group, then, when those drinks are finished, another person takes their turn. This goes on throughout the night. If you're used to the American way, where everyone pays for themselves or orders separately, you might unknowingly come off as rude. Now, you might be thinking, but what if someone buys me a drink and I don't want to buy one back? Don't worry, it's about participation, not obligation. If you're staying for a while, just make sure to get your round in. And if you're about to leave, it's totally okay to say, I'm heading off soon, so I'll pass on this round. Pro tip, when it's your turn, don't forget to ask, same again? That's the classic British way of offering another round without making a fuss. 4. Not understanding the difference between England, the UK, and Great Britain. Oh boy, if there's one way to irritate a Brit, it's messing up the geography. You would be surprised how many Americans refer to the entire UK as England. This mistake is not only annoying, but also shows a lack of understanding of the complex history and cultural identity of the region. Here's a quick guide to help you navigate the differences. England, just England. One country, part of the UK, with its own distinct culture, history and customs. Great Britain, England, Scotland and Wales, but not Northern Ireland. This term refers to the island that includes these 3 countries: the United Kingdom, UK, England, Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland. This is the official name of the sovereign state that includes all 4 countries. Calling a Scottish or Welsh person English is a huge no-no. It's like calling a Texan a New Yorker. It just doesn't work. Each country within the UK has its own unique identity, and using the correct terminology shows respect for their individuality. 3. Speaking too directly. Americans are known for their straightforwardness. They say what they mean and mean what they say. The British, on the other hand, tend to communicate indirectly. They'll sugarcoat criticism, drop subtle hints, and expect you to read between the lines. Here's an example. American: that's a bad idea. British: I'm not sure that's the best approach. American: I don't want to do that. British: that might be a bit tricky. See the difference? If you respond too bluntly, it might come across as aggressive. Instead, soften your words with phrases like, maybe we could try something else, or I see what you mean, but... In fact, the British often use humour and irony to convey their true feelings. So if someone says, oh, that's a great idea, they are probably being sarcastic. Be sure to pick up on these subtle cues to avoid misunderstandings. 2. Using overly enthusiastic Americanisms. OMG, that's so awesome! I'm literally obsessed with this place. Like, I just can't even. Sound familiar? If so, you might be dropping a few too many Americanisms while visiting the UK. The British tend to be more reserved with their expressions. Words like awesome, amazing, incredible, and fantastic are used sparingly. Instead, Brits prefer more understated reactions like quite nice, which actually means decent. Not bad at all, which actually means pretty good. Could be worse, which actually means not bad. The lesson? Tone down the hyperbole a little, and you'll sound more like a local. Avoid using superlatives like the best, the greatest, or the most amazing. Instead, opt for more modest language like really good, very nice, or quite enjoyable. 1. Being too nice. Wait, what? How can someone be too nice? Well, in America, friendliness is a virtue. Smiling at strangers, striking up conversations in the grocery store, and complimenting people you've just met are all normal. In the UK, not so much. British people can be friendly, but they're also reserved. Being overly friendly too soon might make them uncomfortable. Small talk is fine, but don't go too deep too quickly. Instead of saying, "Oh my gosh, I love your accent. Where are you from?" Try something more subtle, like, "That's an interesting accent. Are you from around here?" And if someone seems standoffish at first, don't worry, it's just the British way. Give it time, and they'll warm up to you. So there you have it. 7 annoying things Americans do when they visit the UK. The best part? These aren't deal breakers. They are just fun little cultural differences to keep in mind. Do you think cultural quirks like these make travel more fun? Let us know in the comments. Thank you for watching this video. Please don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell.